Hello, option trader. My name is Matthew, and today we are taking a closer look at nifty and maybe lesser known customization at ThinkOrSwim platform. So let's take a look at the platform on the option chain tab. As you can see here, on the top tabs, we have a trade section, and let's click on that. And I have loaded the Baba ticker, which is what I chose to basically work on. And before we begin with customization, in the very first thing you might need to do, just take a moment and get closer, look to familiarize yourself with default setting and start customizing those settings. So by default, we have the traditional expiration in the white uh, color, and we have the weekly expiration in a yellow color. So we might have the security see different expiration. Quarter lines, for example, and but anything that is non-traditional expiration will show up in yellow. Otherwise, the traditional third Friday of the month expiration show up in white, like this on March 17 and February 17, and so on and so forth. So I'm gonna expand the 17th of March 23, which is March 17, 2023, and by default usually there is 12 depending on what you choose, but I seen 4 or whatnot, so you can choose how many expiration you want to show. So the strike in display, it's right in here. You get to choose what you want to see. So the very first thing you might customize is a number of a strike, like these numbers. It might not seem trader to just see few strike. So we might want to look at future and further in the money or out of the money, because that's how you see it. So if I open up all on Baba, so that's going to be quite a few, as you can see. And these are available for people who want to see more than further and now option in the future as well. And we can see each of those column on the heading, like so. Right now, let's begin customizing a column heading, so we can look at those at the last X, and also these are the heading that you might want to see, where you can choose or select the default if you want to see the changes and volume and open interest and implied volatility, probability out of the money and delta, position, intrinsic and extrinsic value, and delta and gamma. Of course, those are the Greeks. So the way you can customize here, you can go to layout and then click on customize. However, there is some option that is already pre-selected or built to show for mostly commonly used by traders. And to minimize that page to a little bit to be more organized, I would just select 8. So that way it gives us more viewing options on the actual windows or option chain. So on this tabs, as you can see, some of those tabs, you can see some of these with showing the triangle at the bottom of the tabs. That indicates that these are customizable options, whereas on the bid X and ask X, which is the price that is being bid and ask price, those are not customizable because depending what is the bid and ask and the price are at this moment. And of course, if you want to see the last X, which means the price at this moment, that would be here, that is showing the price at the last basically time of cells that is being preceded by the numbers that are being basically taken as a bid or ask. So right here under the default layout, right up here, we can change to what we want to see. As I said, you can see there is last X here and net change. So if I click on those triangle, you can see I can customize it based on what I want it to be seen, and can be selected last price, net change, whatnot. That's the default field price and market value, and also volume. So an open interest and all those options that you can select based on what you want to look at. And for today's example, how about we just go ahead and we are going to head down to the Greek, which is really important to see when it comes to choosing a proper option. So for example, delta, gamma, theta, and vega. And of course, each one represents the value of in which the price of the option will be affected by. So, but in today's video, I just want to select or describe what it's actually customization is all about. So as I choose that, if not customizable like this too, you can always customize this Vega. Let's say you just want to see uh, implied volatility because Vega maybe is not that important to you, but so is implied volatility. It's most important to you for those Greek to be able to choose the selection based on the value you want to see. So using the layout menu is one way that the column can be customized. Another way is just to column headline themselves like this, as I described earlier. And the final way to customize would be choosing the customization, which is its customized tool, as I'm gonna be showing you by clicking on customize. So now here you can add based on what you want to see. By default, because we are on the Greek section, we can see delta, gamma, and theta, and well, I already changed that to implied volatility, but that would have been the Vega. So that's one way to customize or based on what you want to see. So for this example, let's see, I do care about theta, I do care about gamma and delta and implied volatility. At the same time, I also want to see the change that has been shown by the value of the price change, right? As you can see, we have seen this being changed 34% since yesterday. So this value is updated based on the day before or depending on what you're looking at. As we are looking at this heading, we can, as I said, we can customize them, right? We're gonna add another Greek, which is Vega, right? By pressing or click on V, we should see an option here, and then we just add it to the heading. Now we have changes, implied volatility, delta, theta, gamma, and Vega, and of course, bid and ask prices. And once we customize what we want to basically see on our viewing option, we can simply go to save as, and here we can just save based on what we want to name. But since this is basically showing all the tabs, so I'll be probably more happy to just save it as what I'm gonna be seeing if I choose that option, and that would be it. And next time, if I change everything here, and just to see the glance of whatever layout I want to see, I can simply go back, and this is what I just created, and just click on it. So that way I can easily load what I wanted to see or what I already customized. So when we do that, we might see sometimes if we add more option. For instance, if we just add, let's say, implied volatility by pressing IM, and then let's say out of the money, probability in touch, and probability in the money and out of the money. These are the what mostly used, and then we click select. As you can see, it's becoming overcrowded, and we might have problem, even though my monitor is pretty large, but for some monitors that might be a little bit crunched. So in this case, we have one option that we can play around, which is filter. If you can see here, filter is turned off now. By clicking on it, we can see it's coming, giving us the option, and this is where we can play around with it. So let's say we decide just doing call or put. So by clicking on the side, we can always choose calls or put. So let's say we just want to buy or sell or whatever with calls. So in this case, we just click on that, and then as you can see, now we have more real estate to play around with, which is a call side, and it gives us a lot of room to properly read those numbers without having to crunch it. So that's one way of doing that. Or also you can always go back and choose both, but that might just become a little bit of overcrowded again. And you can always slide uh, those column to make it smaller or big, or uh, you can play around with those other options that we have in the tabs, so we can just clear it up. But this is what you can play around if based on what you want to see. So let's say some traders wants to create a strategy, for example, vertical spread or iron condor stuff, or any other strategy that they want to. So by right clicking on the bid or any of these rows, you can always get this option here. Let's say we want to sell or buy vertical spread. So as you can see, we simply by doing that, it gives us the vertical spread automatically, where we can select our expiration date plus the the, the strike price, and here you can say call or put, but since we chose a strategy, it's automatically vertical spread is being populated. As you can see, we have a lot of option here. Let's say we change our mind. Now we have $1 spread. Let's say I want to have maybe $2 spread or $3 spread, you can simply choose it from here. And by doing that, you just changing those strike based on what you're planning to do based on your strategy, right? So there is also another way to easier to select those strike rather than coming here and changing it based on the price you want. So of course, ThinkOrSwim, thought about this and created something that we gonna be playing with it. So let's just delete this order before we submit it. As you can see here, we have a spread here, right? So we, as you can see here, we can see all those numbers strike 100, 101, and 102 and 3 all the way up based on how many strike we chose. Now, what if we want to just do the vertical that we get to see it before even we choose the strike or any of those strategies? I'm gonna just quickly select vertical. As you can see now on the strike, I have been given the vertical based on the dollar spread, which is 100, 101, and 101, and 102, and 2 and 3, and so on and so forth. So this is making our selection or looking at what we're going to see way easier than by default was shown before. So that way I can simply look at this one, 105 and 106. If I want to create a short strike or short position, I can simply come here and click on the buy or sell, and simply it changes, and here I can just change it if I want to. Based on the strike I get to choose here. So that's how simple it is with ThinkOrSwim. So that's the way that usually I use it, and that's how you can see how easy you can select based on your strategy. And here, if you didn't know, you can see if this is going to be a credit or debit. So because you're selling vertical as a first position, most likely this is why you get credit, right? Because this is for writing an option to collect credit or premium. So now you might ask, wouldn't it be nice if we could just skip to strike and select, let's say, 105 and 107? So that way we don't have to come here to us, customize it. Of course you can. Let's say I'm going to delete that. And here, when we are selecting our strike, we have more option, which is this one. It says deep and hold. So if you go here 1 month or 2 months or 3 months away or 4 months away based on what you want to do. So let's say we want to do 1 month, but we want 2 strike away, right? 2 strike apart. So, and as before we selected, we can go ahead and select vertical again. And now we have those 2 strike away, see 104 and 106, 105 and 107. So that way we simply can go to sell, and now we have those 2 strikes away options that was given to us by the first click. So we don't have to come here and choose anything, but you can also do the same, but that makes it easier for you, and you don't have to come here and do any changes as we did before. So this is another option to do so, and I hope you guys enjoying it so far. And if you do so, I appreciate if you can give me a thumbs up and bang on this like button for me. That being appreciated. And so let's say that we want to just deal with certain criteria on options. So in this case, we're going to scan the options chain based on what criteria we want to look at. So if we click on the scan option, we are in stock hackers, which means we basically scanning stocks. But now we want to scan option. By clicking on option hackers, we get to select certain criteria. So I'm just gonna remove whatever is by default, and from here we can basically create our own filter by clicking on the filter, we can go and select option. And what we want to select is, what if I want to just see or choose the option that has the implied volatility of uh, 0 to 30, because the less implied volatility, the less intrinsic value you will lose, or basically you if you're the buyer, option buyer, that will give you a less premium time decays to basically lose. So, and to add more criteria, we could also use another filter, which we want to only do short-term, short-term option expiration. So here we can choose days to expire. Let's say we just want the option that has 7 days to 30 days expiration. So we don't want to be in the money, or we don't want to be so close to expiration, because then the chances are, especially when you buy in options, that way you will you might get into the position that don't have so much room to play with your options. So now that we selected, as you can see, the numbers of uh, result here matches. It's quite a lot, almost millions of uh, option that can be displayed. So let's narrow it down more by adding another option filter. And here, because as you can see here, we get so many options here to select from. What if we choose based on open interest? So the reason why we want to have at least 1,000 open interest, based on which gives us more liquidity. And also I'm going to add another one that has volume as well, so that way we know we don't have, let's say, 1,000, 10,000 or 1,000 volume. And as you can see, it keeps narrowing it down for us. Right now we are down to 200,000. And let's add another option filter, and this time I'm gonna just choose option type, which is, let's say, if we are a call buyer or seller at this point, because we are trying to buy based on what we chose. So that way, for the call option, we get to see call. But I'm recording that video on a weekend, so we may not get to see a lot of options here, but that would be the call that I'm displaying or showing in my criteria that I selected. So, and this is the way that you can play around with your scanner for the option hacking. So once you do that and you're happy with the result, in order to see the remaining of options based on the chart and on your watch list to observe it better, so you can always go here and save a query based on whatever you wanted to select. In this case, let's call it bullish option. And then if that's the name that resonate to you much better than anything else, you just quickly save it, and now you have it in your watch list, and you can quickly go there and select bullish option. This is what we just created, and then you can always look at the result here, which is easier to look at a lot of other things that you wanted to see. So I hope you guys actually benefit from this video and at least learn the basic of how to customize your ThinkOrSwim option chain as well as scanner for option. So if so, please, as I said, if you can like this video and subscribe for my next video that I'm making next week, and hopefully I'll see you in my next video. Up until then, have a wonderful trading days and good luck.